That must be 24 light years away.
Are you suggesting that they could have transported over a distance of... You're out of your Vulcan mind, Spock.
The beam is originating at least 1,000 light years away.
No transporter beam can reach that far.
We think he's using some kind of subspace transporter.
My understanding is that such devices were impractical.
The Federation abandoned its research in the field because the technology was found to be unreliable, as well as energy intensive.
In order to transport matter through subspace, you have to put it in a state of quantum flux. It's very unstable.
What range would that kind of transporter have?
In theory, it could operate over several light years.
Picking up traces of tachyon energy.
A transporter beam.
Yeah, with a Dominion signature.
Their transporters operate over longer distances than ours. What's their maximum range?
If the homing transponder was in place, up to 3 light years.
The Rudian team picked up a faint nuclear vibration during the terrorist movements.
That could possibly indicate subspace transition rebound during transport.
Folded space transport. Adaptive transport. Yes, computer, call up the files on the Elway theorem. What if they're using interdimensional travel?
But the Elway theorem proved to be entirely inaccurate. All research was abandoned by the mid-23rd century.
But Data, look, the nuclear vibrations are the same, and Elway used a model similar to this.
It would certainly be untraceable by any standard method of detection.
But it was proven to be fatal. To use this technology would be an irrational act. Anyone who is willing to transport in this manner would suffer significant internal damage that could be detected.
The file is called Project Daedalus.
It worked on Project Daedalus for Section 31 because it was classified.
Subquantum teleportation. You step onto a transporter on Earth, a few seconds later, you're on Vulcan.
That's over 16 light years.
That's just for starters. Theoretically, there is no limit to the distance. With that kind of technology, we have any use for a starship. When this test is over, Enterprise and all of Starfleet could be obsolete. It's going to take decades to work out all the bugs. But when we do, Starfleet's going to look a hell of a lot different. That's if it exists at all.
The Vulcan Science Academy has been studying subquantum transporting for some time, with little result.
I've been trying to get my hands on some of that research for years.
His subquantum version should use less energy than a regular transporter. That's one of the reasons it's so brilliant.
The subquantum transporter is a fundamentally flawed concept. It'll never work. Not now, not 1,000 years from now.
I had a little debate with my instructor on the issue of relativistic physics and how it pertains to subspace travel. He seemed to think that the range of transporting something like a grapefruit was limited to about 100 miles. I told him that I could not only beam a grapefruit from one planet to the adjacent planet in the same system, which is easy, by the way, I could do it with a life form.
What if I told you that your transwarp theory was correct? That it is indeed possible to beam onto a ship that is traveling at warp speed?
I think if that equation had been discovered, I'd have heard about it.
The reason you haven't heard of it, Mr. Scott, is because you haven't discovered it yet.
The Norpon colony is for old men to retire. Maybe someday I'll end up there, but not yet.
What's that?
Your equation for achieving transwarp beaming.
It never occurred to me to think of space as the thing that was moving. Even if I believed you, right, where you're from, what I've done, you're still talking about beaming aboard the Enterprise while she's traveling faster than light without a proper receiving pad. The notion of transwarp beaming is like trying to hit a bullet with a smaller bullet whilst wearing a blindfold, riding a horse.